They told him it was just part of getting older. Slower blood flow, weaker performance, all normal after 60, the doctor said with a tired shrug. But just 3 months later, he found himself rushed to the emergency room, thinking it was a heart attack. The truth? It wasn't his heart at all. The real issue was blocked blood vessels down there. No one had ever mentioned that poor circulation doesn't just affect your legs or chest. It can quietly chip away at your intimacy, your confidence, and your bond with the one you love. Hi, I'm Dr. James. For over 30 years, I've helped men reclaim their health, their energy, and yes, their ability to connect deeply once again. I've treated thousands of men over 60, and here's what I've learned: aging itself isn't the enemy. The real challenge is what no one talks about, and how simple changes can make all the difference. Most folks think baking soda is only good for baking or cleaning. But when used the right way, the way I'm about to show you, it can work wonders on your blood flow, keep your arteries flexible, and boost your nitric oxide levels. That's right. Something sitting right in your kitchen right now could be the key to feeling younger, more alive, and reconnected in the bedroom. And don't worry, James, I'm not going to drown you in confusing medical jargon. I'll guide you step by step through how it works, why it's so effective, and how to use it safely. But fair warning, if you use it the wrong way, especially at our age, it could backfire. So stick with me, because in just a moment, I'm going to share the method quietly changing the lives of men over 60 all across the country. Before we go on, if practical, life-changing health advice matters to you, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way, you won't miss a single tip designed to help you feel stronger, more connected, and in charge of your health. And if you're finding this helpful so far, just type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps me make this even better for you. Let's start with the truth most men over 60 never hear from their doctor, and it's costing them more than they realize. You see, the slow decline in blood flow that begins in your 50s doesn't just drain your energy. It chips away at your strength, your mood, and your ability to feel close to the one you love. It starts small, colder hands and feet, getting winded faster, maybe just not feeling in the mood like before. But over time, it grows, and if ignored, it can lead to far bigger problems. One common issue for men over 60 is poor blood circulation. I remember a man named Brian, 68, retired, married over 40 years. He came to my office not complaining about his heart or intimacy at first. He just said, "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore." His hands stayed cold, even in summer. He was falling asleep earlier each night, and though he didn't say it outright, I could sense a quiet heaviness, a loss he couldn't quite explain. When we talked more, he admitted intimacy had become rare, awkward, and sometimes painful, not physically, but emotionally. Brian felt like he was fading away from the man he used to be. What Brian experienced is far more common than most realize. It's one of the most widespread, overlooked struggles men over 60 face. And it all begins with blood flow. As we age, the walls inside our blood vessels stiffen. Arteries lose their flexibility. Blood doesn't flow as freely, and the tiny vessels that keep us warm, energized, and responsive start to close up like old, clogged pipes. This doesn't happen overnight. It sneaks in slowly, stealing your vitality little by little, until we chalk it up to just aging. But it's not just aging. It's poor circulation, and it doesn't only affect your body. It changes how you feel, as a man, a husband, a human being. It can leave you frustrated, disconnected, and wondering if your best years are behind you. I've seen men doubt themselves, question their worth, and even shy away from affection. Not because they don't care, but because their bodies just aren't responding like they used to, and no one ever explained why. The good news? This decline isn't set in stone. There are ways to support your circulation, restore the flexibility of your blood vessels, and reignite that spark you thought was lost forever. Believe it or not, one of the simplest tools I recommend might be sitting right now in your kitchen cabinet. Yes, baking soda, but not the way you've seen on the box. Let me show you how this humble household item, used correctly, can start to reverse the very process that's been holding you back. The next few minutes could change how you think about your body forever. If you're still with me and this message speaks to you, go ahead and type 1 in the comments. That tells me you're listening, that you care about your health, and that you're ready to take the next step. Now, let's move on to the second key insight, the serious consequences of poor circulation. I'll never forget the day Charles broke down in my office. He was 72, proud, always sharp, the kind of man who looked after everyone, his family, neighbors, even the stray cat that wandered into his yard. But that day, somehow, he looked smaller. Not in body, but in spirit. He leaned forward, lowered his voice, and said, "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore." His blood tests were fine. His heart sounded strong. But I knew what was really happening. His body wasn't delivering blood where it counted, not just to his hands and feet, but to the places tied to his confidence, intimacy, and his connection with his wife. Poor circulation wasn't just affecting his health, it was quietly unraveling who he was. You see, when your blood flow slows down, it's like the lights in your house dim room by room. First goes your energy. Then your sleep. Then your ability to respond when intimacy calls. It's not just physical, it messes with your mind. You start to doubt yourself. You feel distant from your partner, even when they're right there beside you. That slow breakdown isn't something a pill can fix, nor will time just make it better. It takes understanding what's really going wrong inside. Medically, it all comes down to your endothelial function, the lining of your blood vessels. When it's damaged, your body stops producing enough nitric oxide. Without nitric oxide, your vessels can't open up properly. Blood can't flow freely. And guess which vessels suffer first? The smallest ones, the ones responsible for arousal, memory, warmth, and vitality. What might start as tiredness or a softer response in the bedroom can quickly grow into something far more serious, early signs of vascular disease, a higher risk of stroke, or erectile dysfunction that won't respond to medication. Sadly, most men don't realize any of this until it's already affecting their lives in ways they never expected. But here's what gives me hope every day: your body wants to heal. Blood vessels can regain their flexibility. Nitric oxide levels can be naturally restored. And you don't have to rely on synthetic pills with scary side effects. In fact, there's a powerful yet simple way to begin repairing this system with something you've probably used your whole life, but never like this. When I started sharing this approach with my older patients, many came back saying, "I never thought I'd feel like this again." So now, let's take a closer look at how baking soda, when used properly, can support this healing process from the inside out, and why it's so much more than just a simple home remedy. Number 3. Baking soda, a simple, often overlooked solution. I remember Harold, a gentle, soft-spoken 67-year-old retired math teacher who came to me feeling worn down after trying everything. Supplements, prescription pills, even those awkward devices he ordered late at night on TV. "Nothing sticks," he said, shaking his head. "I feel like I'm chasing shadows." He wasn't just tired in his body, but in his spirit. Then I asked him a question that caught him off guard. "Do you have baking soda in your kitchen?" He looked puzzled. "You mean for cookies?" I smiled. "Yes, but not just for cookies. Most people think of baking soda as something to sprinkle in pancake batter or keep in the fridge, but few realize what it can do inside the human body, especially for men struggling with poor circulation and the quiet ways it drains energy, confidence, and connection. Baking soda, or sodium bicarbonate, isn't a miracle powder. It's a simple compound that, when used the right way, can support better blood flow and oxygen delivery, a big deal as we age. Here's why it works. As we get older, our bodies tend to become more acidic, thanks to diet, stress, and the natural decline of kidney function. This acid buildup can tighten blood vessels and reduce oxygen availability, two things you definitely don't want if your circulation is already struggling. Taking a small amount of baking soda mixed in water at the right time helps neutralize that excess acid. It gently balances your body's pH, allowing blood to flow more freely. Better circulation means more strength, more warmth, and more responsiveness, even in places you may have thought were beyond help. I've seen men like Harold start this simple routine under guidance and notice small but meaningful changes: more energy in the morning, less stiffness, a spark returning where there had been silence. Of course, baking soda isn't a cure-all and doesn't replace healthy habits, but for many, it's the start of a very real turnaround. Once your body is properly supported, it begins to respond, sometimes more than they ever expected. But I have to be honest, what works gently when done right can cause harm if rushed, guessed at, or misused. That's where it gets tricky and potentially dangerous. So before you reach for that box and start mixing, there's something very important you need to know. Let me walk you through exactly how to use baking soda safely and what to avoid so you don't accidentally make things worse while trying to get better. Number 4, the danger of using it the wrong way. I'll be straight with you, I've seen both sides of baking soda. I've seen it help men reclaim their vitality and confidence. And I've also seen it backfire when used carelessly. One patient, William, was 70, active, still golfing twice a week. He read online that baking soda could improve blood flow and thought, why not? So, he started taking a teaspoon every morning and another at night, thinking more would bring faster results. Within a week, he was bloated, his blood pressure soared, and he ended up in the ER with heart palpitations and confusion. His kidneys, already weakened by years of silent stress, couldn't handle the overload. You see, baking soda itself isn't dangerous. But it becomes risky when treated like a quick fix without understanding how it really works. It's not like taking a vitamin. Baking soda is a powerful compound that affects your body's internal chemistry, especially your pH levels, fluid balance, and sodium load. For older adults, especially those on blood pressure medicine or with sensitive kidneys, that balance is delicate. At this age, your body is like a finely tuned instrument. Even a little too much sodium, yes, even from something natural like baking soda, can throw off your heart rhythm, cause swelling, or push your blood pressure into dangerous levels. I've had to explain this more than once to well-meaning patients who just wanted to feel alive again but didn't realize the cost of guessing. The good news? These risks are completely avoidable if you use baking soda the right way. And right doesn't just mean taking less. It means timing it well, staying hydrated, understanding your medications, and paying close attention to how your body reacts. It means asking questions, not rushing for quick fixes, and working with your body, not against it. I always remind my patients, just because something is natural doesn't mean it's safe in any amount. Water is natural, too, but drink too much too fast, and it can harm you. Baking soda can support real healing, but only when used carefully, with respect, and ideally under a doctor's guidance. If you're still here, I know you're not looking for shortcuts. You want something that truly works, something that helps you feel like yourself again without putting your health at risk. So, let me show you how to do this the right way. Because in a moment, I'll walk you through the exact method I use with my own patients, the safe timing, the right dosage, and one simple trick that makes all the difference. Number 5, how to use baking soda safely. When I talk about baking soda with my patients, their first question is almost always the same: okay, doc, but how do I actually use it? And that's the right question, because as we've seen, the difference between helping your body and harming it comes down to how you use it. For most generally healthy adults over 60, the safest place to start is just a quarter teaspoon of baking soda stirred into a full glass of water, taken on an empty stomach, ideally first thing in the morning. Not after a meal, not before bed, and definitely not multiple times a day. Just once. That might sound small, but trust me, when it comes to your body's internal balance, small is smart. I remember Matthew, a 74-year-old patient who struggled with afternoon energy crashes and circulation problems that made even short walks feel like work. We started him on this simple routine, a quarter teaspoon each morning on an empty stomach with a full glass of water. Within 3 weeks, he told me, "Doc, I don't know what it is, but I feel clearer, steadier, and my hands aren't freezing anymore." Here's something most people don't realize: hydration matters. Baking soda works best when your body is well hydrated. That means drinking water throughout the day, not just when you're thirsty. When your blood is hydrated, circulation improves, oxygen travels easier, and your organs, including those responsible for intimacy, work better. So don't just focus on the baking soda alone. Think of it as part of a bigger shift in how you care for yourself. And if you're on medications, especially for blood pressure, heart, or kidney issues, always check with your doctor first. This isn't about fear, it's about respect. Your body has carried you through decades of life. It deserves careful attention. You wouldn't drive a classic car without checking the engine first, right? Treat your health the same way. Most men don't need a miracle. They just need one small win to build hope. One positive change that says, you're not done. You're not broken. You're still here. That's what this simple daily habit can be, the start of that change. Now, if all this sounds promising, stay with me just a little longer, because in the final part, I'm going to share Now, let me share the story of a 76-year-old man who used this exact method, and one small addition that took his results to a whole new level. You'll want to hear what happened next. There's a man named Frank I think about often. He was 76, widowed, quiet, a man who spoke only when he had something important to say. He came to see me after hearing about baking soda from a mutual friend. He wasn't chasing miracles. He just wanted to feel a little more like himself again. More alive, more connected, maybe even open to the possibility of opening his heart to someone new. We started him on the same routine I shared with you earlier, a small dose of baking soda each morning, careful hydration, paying close attention to how his body responded. But Frank added one thing that made all the difference: consistency. He didn't take the mixture once and forget about it. He respected the process. He gave his body the time it needed to respond. Within a few weeks, the changes weren't dramatic, but they were steady: more warmth in his hands, better sleep, and a deeper presence when talking with others. Then one day, with a small smile, he said, "I didn't think I'd ever feel this kind of closeness again, but I do." What I've shared with you may sound simple, but don't underestimate its power. We've talked about how poor circulation quietly affects millions of men over 60, how it drains energy, weakens intimacy, and makes you feel like your best years are behind you. We've explored how baking soda, when used the right way, can restore balance to your body, support blood flow, and bring life back to places that have felt numb or silent for too long. And we've been clear, this isn't about quick fixes. It's about giving your body the support it needs, with care, patience, and respect. If you felt tired, disconnected, or even a little hopeless about what's been slipping away, here's what I want you to know. It's not too late. The power to heal is still inside you. Your body hasn't given up. It's just been waiting for you to listen. So maybe this small change is your place to begin. One glass. One habit. One quiet decision to take your health, your energy, and your confidence seriously. Not someday, but today. Because you're not done yet. You still matter. And there's more life left to feel.